welcome back to my channel. My name is Andy, sometimes Mouse, and I talk about books and book-related things, and today I am giving you my April TBR. Now, fun fact, I already filmed this video, edited it, it's uploaded, it's scheduled to come out tomorrow. However, I found out that what readathon I was going to participate in to support my friends got cancelled, and so while my TBR is mostly the same, the way I want to talk about it is different, so I'm going to try and get this filmed, edited, and uploaded before tomorrow. If you see this video, then I did it. If you didn't, then this was a waste of my time, effort, and energy. Yay! If you are new here, hi, hello, I'm Mouse. I like to break down my TBRs, series continuations, and then everything else, because I have this very large and ambitious goal to try and finish all of the series that I am in the middle of. Unfortunately, people keep releasing books in those series, which makes it very difficult, but I'm trying. So let's go ahead and start talking about those books specifically. I will be continuing the Helmet Midnight series, essentially by Marina Lassiter. I will be reading The Teeth of Dawn, which is the third book in the series. I think we expect 4 or 5 books in this series, so that's exciting, but because it is the third book, I'm not going to get into what it is about because I don't want to spoil anything, so you'll just have to trust me on that one. Some of the books that I read in the series are just kind of like one-offs, like the one I'm about to talk about, and some of them I reread the entire series, and so I will tell you about the first book and not the later books because I don't want to spoil anything, and then some of them are like Teeth of Dawn, where I could read you what Teeth of Dawn is about. It wouldn't necessarily spoil everything since since this series can kind of fit into different genres for each book, but I also am not totally sure how to best discuss this book, so we're going to go ahead and move on to the next one, which is Guards by Terry Pratchett. This is a continuation in the Discworld series. The summary is, this is where the dragons went. They lie, not dead, not asleep, but dormant. And although the space they occupy isn't like normal space, nevertheless they are packed in tightly. They could put you in mind of a can of sardines, if you thought sardines were huge and scaly. And presumably, somewhere, there's a key. I'm excited to talk about dragons in Terry Pratchett in the Discworld series. I'm interested to see that continue because I honestly don't remember dragons in the Discworld series, and maybe that's just because I read them when I was a kid, and so maybe that's what it is, but either way, I'm excited about it. Next up, we have Witch by Elizabeth Unknown, volumes 22 through 25. This is the graphic novel series that I read as a kid. I don't think I got this far as a kid, but I'm trying to complete them. As far as I'm aware, there's 32 of them, so I'm really getting further and further into it. I will finish it this year, God willing. Someone did, thankfully, let me know that some of the later arcs are not translated, and you have to go to fan translations, and I have mentioned this a few times, but I don't know if I'm actually going to do that, because that doesn't necessarily appeal to me. Unless the series is, like, getting mind-blowingly amazing, then I will, but thus far, most of the books are, like, 3-star reads. Next up, we have A Curse of Ash and Embers by Jo Spurrier. I will be rereading that, and then reading Daughter of Lies and Ruins to finish out that duology. Now, caveat, I read this in like 2020 and rated it 3 stars, which was really saying something because in 2020, I thought 3 stars was the equivalent of 1 to 2 star ratings. I have low expectations for this book. A Dead Witch, A Bitter Curse, A Battle of Magic. Some people knit socks by the fire at night. Gisha Blackbone made monsters, but the old witch is dead now, and somehow it's Elodie's job to clean up the mess. When she was hired at Black Oak Cottage, Elodie had no idea she'd find herself working for a witch, and her acid-tongued new mistress, Alida, was not expecting a housemaid to turn up on her doorstep. Gisha's final curse left Alida practically dead on her feet, and now, with huge monsters roaming the woods, a demonic tree lurking in the orchard, and an angry warlock demanding repayment of debt, Alida needs Elodie's help, whether she likes it or not. And no matter what the old witch throws at her, to Elodie, it's still better than going back home. I, overall, have very low expectations. I just don't know that I will enjoy this. Now, what I remember about this book is that by the time I got to the end, it started to get really interesting. So maybe having a sequel will make this better. We will see. And the last thing in my series continuations is So Let Them Burn by Camilla Cole. I will be rereading that book and then reading The Sins and Embers by Camilla Cole. Sorry, there's a dust bunny. Farron Vincent can channel the power of the gods. 5 years ago, she used her divine magic to liberate her island from its enemies, the dragon-riding Langley Empire. But now, at 17, Farron is all powered up with no wars to fight. She's a legend to her people and a nuisance to her neighbors. If I remember correctly as well, I read these books, this first book, in April last year. So, Farron is basically taken to an international peace summit and is expected to just like kind of get treated like a pet and show some tricks and move on. But then her sister forms a bond with an enemy dragon, and the gods basically say the only way to break that bond is to kill her sister, and Farron is like, I don't want to do that. And so it's just things kind of deteriorate from there. I'm excited about continuing that series. I think it'll be good. I love a good YA fantasy, especially with dragons, so we'll see. Next up, we have my others, which is basically anything that's not a series continuation. I have been actively trying to read one of every genre every month, because then my reading is a little bit more varied and I can stop having so many high-rated reads. Last year was great. I didn't DNF anything. I had a good time, but I'm trying to read one of every genre other than classics. I do classics every other month because I'm not gonna push myself that hard. So we'll see. First up, we have The God of Endings by Jacqueline Holland. This book is about Colette Lessange, who is a vampire. I don't know that she knows she's a vampire, though. Like, when I was reading the summary, I was like, She was granted the gift of eternal life from her grandfather, and she's endured centuries of turmoil and heartache. It's 150 years after that time in 1834, so it's 150 years after 1834. Her life is suddenly upended by the arrival of a gifted child from a troubled home, the return of a stalking presence from her past, and her own mysteriously growing hunger for blood. That's the line that makes me go, do you not know that you're a vampire? Girl, how do you not know? You know? What are you doing? Next up, we have my nonfiction pick for the month, and that is going to be The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt. This book is talking about how childhood has changed so drastically that it has generated these generations of children who have social and neurological development has changed so drastically, and children are generally very affected by social media and by the technology that surrounds them and all of those things, and it's ways to combat that, how it creates anxiety and stress unnecessarily, and it's ways to combat that, essentially. I'm curious to see if it's just like, we're just going to blame the phones, or are we also going to blame the fact that, like, parents are having to work more, and so there's less time spent with children, schools are being stretched, and so there's less time spent with children, one-on-one time, and also focusing on their needs versus focusing on passing standardized testing. I don't know. I'm interested to see, like, what gets the blame for this. I don't know. It's been on my list for a long time too. So next up, we have a horror book by Courtney Gold, and I love Courtney Gold's horror. I think she writes incredible horror, and that's called What the Woods Took. This book is about Devin Green, who is a foster kid. She wakes up and is suddenly being taken to one of those troubled teen camps. So she's being kidnapped in the night, consensually by her foster parents, but not by her, kidnapped in the night, and then taken through this camping trip with the wilderness. However, some weird shit starts happening in the woods. There's creepy voices and human faces, visions of people who shouldn't be there flashing in the leaves, and their camp counselors essentially vanish. So shit gets wild. I'm excited to see what happens. Yeah, we'll see. Courtney Gold writes really, really good queer horror, and I like it a lot, so I'm excited to see this one, read this one. Next up, we have They Bloom at Night by Trang Tan Tran, which is another horror book that I'm excited for because I really like this author. This book is about a red algae bloom that's taken over Mercy, Louisiana. There was a devastating hurricane, and it created mutated wildlife that lurks in the water. Noon's life was essentially upended before the storm anyway, because something happened at a party that her older boyfriend had insisted upon. I don't know, we will see. Now she is stuck navigating the submerged town with her mom, who believes that their dead family has reincarnated as sea creatures, but the whole time Noon is burying the truth that she is not the right shape, whatever that means. When Mercy, the town of Mercy's predatory leader, demands Noon and her mom capture the creature drowning residents, she reluctantly finds an ally in his deadly hunter of daughter and friends old and new. As the next storm approaches, Noon must confront the past and decide if it's time to answer the monster itching at her skin. What does it mean? I don't know. I am curious. I think Tan Tran does a really good job of incorporating trauma and horror in a way that doesn't feel like, oh, the horror was not real the whole time. The horror is still real, but still has a rooting in some form of trauma or grief or that kind of thing. I think the way that that's handled is at least in the one book that I read, is pretty good. So I'm excited to read this next book. Now we have Aban Mi for Two by Trinity Nguyen, which is a book about two different characters, Lan and Vivi. Lan lives in Vietnam and writes a food blog that she started with her father, but she has not updated it since her father passed away. And Vivi has never been to Vietnam. Her parents refuse to talk about it, and so she goes secretly to Vietnam to learn about where she's from, but also to try everything she's seen on her favorite food blog, which is the one written by Lan. So Vivi and Lan end up meeting up and they strike a deal. Lan will show Vivi around the city, helping her piece together her mom's story through the crumbling photographs and old memories, and Vivi will help Lan start writing again so that she can enter a food blogging contest. Eventually they fall in love. It's gay. We love it. We love a gay book. Next up, we have a contemporary novel by Jazz Hammonds called Thirsty. This is a book about Blake Brenner and her girlfriend Ella. They want to join essentially this sorority. It's the summer before college, and they're trying to get set up to join this exclusive Serena society. It's just a sorority. Ella is essentially guaranteed to get accepted. She's an alumni's daughter. But Blake, on the other hand, definitely not guaranteed. Blake has to work like a full-time job. She's got a working class background, whereas Ella does not. She does not have the alumni daughter thing. What is that called? What are they? There's a term for that, but I don't remember what it is. Anyway, and so Blake starts drinking to start dealing with the kind of anxiety around this social situation. Ella says that's fine, that's normal, it's totally fine to start partying. However, it kind of reaches a peak where Blake has to kind of decide how willing she's, how far she's willing to go to achieve her dreams, and how much of herself she's willing to lose in the process. So we shall see. And last but not least, we have a kind of cozy sci-fi, kind of not cozy sci-fi called Light from Uncommon Stars by Raika Aoki. Shizuka Satomi made a deal to escape damnation. She must entice 7 other violin prodigies to trade their souls for success. She has already delivered 6. When Katrina Nguyen, a young transgender runaway, catches Shizuka's ear with her wild talent, Shizuka can almost feel the curse lifted. She's found her final candidate. She's ready to go. But then she goes to a donut shop off a bustling highway in the San Gabriel Valley and meets Lan Tran, a retired starship captain, interstellar refugee, and mother of 4. Shizuka doesn't have time for crushes or coffee dates, what with her very soul on the line. However, it doesn't matter because she kind of really likes Lan, and it might redefine what a soul's worth is, that relationship. Maybe something as small as a warm donut is powerful enough to break a curse as vast as the California coastline, the summary says. And it kind of just shows the lives of these 3 women as they become entangled, and curses and hopes and dreams and whatnot. I'm excited about it. I think it'll be a really good book. I think I'll have a lot of fun reading it. So, and I haven't heard anybody talking about it, which is an extra added benefit for me. So we will see. But that is it. That is my TBR for April. I'm really excited about the books I have to read. There are some books that I've had like just pending for quite some time, and then I've had books that are just brand new to me and that I had never heard of until I was researching them for something else. And so yeah, I think it's a good balance between the 2 things for me, because sometimes I hyper-focus on like one goal and then don't worry about all of the other things, and I don't know. I think this will be good. But that's it. Let me know in the comments down below if you have read any of these, or if you're now interested in reading any of these. I would love to talk about them with you, especially by the time this video comes out. I may have finished a couple of them. Actually, this video comes out tomorrow. I have not finished any of them. I'm going to tell you now. But maybe by the time you watch it, I might have finished something. We will see. But I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a like and share if you feel so pleased. And if you didn't, let me know in the comments down below how I can make it a much more enjoyable viewing experience for you. That sounded cheesy as fuck, sorry. But that's it. I post videos every Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time every single week, except the first full week of the month, because taking breaks is important. Don't forget to take your meds, drink your water, and do something today to take care of yourselves. Okay, thanks, bye.